UFC 287 is going to be headlined by Alex Pereira and Israel Adesanya in the rematch.
You know what's funny about that? We was hearing rumors that Alex wanted to go up and fight Jamahal Hill for the light heavyweight belt, and then this just came out.
But they also were saying that for whatever reason, if Israel didn't want the rematch, that Robert Whitaker would have been the person to step in and fight.
They pull straws or something like.
Because I'm like, why would Israel not want the rematch? I don't understand. That would be weird. But
maybe he wants some time off, man. I thought he was gonna take some time off too. But
when was the last fight was in November?
I think Izzy only took this fight because
he didn't want nobody else to get the.
No, not even that. I don't think Israel would have took this fight if he wasn't ready. If that makes sense. Well, I think mentally he was ready. Okay, we started to get that fire back, man. So okay, I want to fight for the belt again.
Yeah, and then you got to realize the reality is if Alex had fought Robert, let's say hypothetically if Robert won, then that means Izzy would have had to fight Alex again, not for the belt. Just to get the W. All I'm saying, or fight Robert, who he already beat 2 times. Either way it goes, it's just a bad look. You might as well take the rematch. And
it wouldn't be fair because Robert would be champion and he didn't beat Israel. You know what I mean? So it would be like, man, you only became champion because I lost. So it'd kind of mess up the middleweight division.
That's what's kind of happening.
But the middleweight division been messed up ever since Robert Whitaker won that belt. If I'm gonna just be honest, because of the events that happened before that. So because GSP gave the belt up now, you know, it's not like he really beat GSP to become champion. But that's a whole nother discussion.
Well, he did have to go through Yoel Romero to get it. So if you can go through that, which
one worse, Yoel or GSP?
Truth be told, he didn't really do that. But hey, that's neither here nor there. But that's 2 of the best fights I've ever seen in my life, so I'm not complaining. But then we go and we take a look at, first of all, let's speak on this. People were saying that Alex was eyeballing Jamahal Hill after he beat Glover Teixeira and saying that he might go up and wait and challenge Jamahal for the belt, for the double champ status, because he was the first double champ in Glory Kickboxing, right? Ooh. So the people were saying like that could have been a storyline. And for that fight, even though we know it's not happening now, that would have been an exciting fight because stylistically, that's a terrible matchup for Jamahal.
Hey, you know, I actually did a poll about that. I said who would win out of Alex and Jamahal, and like 80% of people chose Alex.
That's because Jamal's primarily a stand-up fighter. Yeah. We know he can grapple now, but it's more defensive. But the reality is, if he was to use more tools offensively, this fight will get interesting. But the difference is, Alex, if the fight is standing up for 25 minutes, and Alex coming from an actual kickboxing background, that's a terrible matchup because we know he's going to chop the legs down.
Because Jamahal Hill could be winning and lose. We've seen Israel multiple fights winning and then lose.
Well, not even that. It's the fact that people are so worried about the power, but then you go and listen to Israel talk about the fight against Alex for the belt, and he said that it was the leg kicks that really messed up his nerves. You can't really get stuck on knockouts when you fight him. You got to be thinking about those leg kicks might mess you up later on down the line. And so Jamahal will have to be prepared to grapple.
Yeah. And obviously he can defensively grapple, so you know he should be able to offensively
That's what I'm
grapple.
saying.
But let me say this though, man. I don't think fighters should be able to do the double champ thing until they defend their belt at least once.
Yeah.
Because the fact that people were saying that he never defended his belt once, I don't think that's fair.
Yeah.
Because what happens, you go out there and you actually beat Jamahal Hill, then now you're the double champ, where you never defended your middleweight belts. Then you go back down and you lose.
But now you're still the champ of another division.
And it's like, what was the point of that?
Meanwhile, you have other people who they have to clean out their division. And then if there's an opportunity in another weight class, then they can explore that situation like Volkanovski.
Like Izzy.
Yeah.
Like when Izzy went up to fight for the belt.
Yeah.
You gotta understand, man, like he had defended his belt, right?
Yeah.
So he earned the opportunity. You don't get to win the belt and then say, okay, now I want to be double champ. You gotta earn that, man.
So yeah, so that would have been interesting, man. I think that in a pure striking stand-up match, Alex versus Jamahal would have ended badly for Jamahal. But I think that a Jamahal that's showing all of his tools other than just going for the knockout, I think that fight gets very interesting because I'm going to keep it a bean with you. Israel's ground game looked awful in that fight. It was so many times to where if he had a rear naked choke, he should have been able to beat Alex. And he really...
And it's not going to work this time because now Alex knows to prepare for the takedowns.
And he's been improving his jiu-jitsu. So, but I think a bigger, stronger Jamahal who actually has grappling acumen, I think he's like a purple belt or something. I think that fight hits the ground because it ain't just going to be submissions from him. He got knockout power. He still can TKO you.
I think this is only path to victory. If I'm just be honest, so he had to work on his ground game and get the fights to the ground.
But I think he can do it though, because if he can muscle Glover around, you should be able to do the same thing with Alex. But Alex, like I said, standing up though, that's a woo.
How can they promote this fight, man? How can they promote Alex versus Izzy?
You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna promote the fact that Izzy stunned him. They're gonna promote the fact that Izzy really dominated him on the ground, but just messed up by not finishing the thing.
And he's one of the greatest middleweights of all time.
And that he has earned the right to get a shot at his belt back, because this is his only loss at middleweight. And the fact that
nobody else can beat Israel.
It was close, and he was actually about to win until that happened. But
the only thing is, in this fourth fight, what would happen if
Alex wins?
If Alex start throwing leg kicks again, because Alex might just throw leg kicks this fourth fight and make it easy.
I'm gonna be real. Alex, he been working on the jiu-jitsu. This fight, dude, Alex might be even better this time. It almost feel like Alex is on a train and Izzy just running behind him trying to catch up to him almost. It's just so weird. It's like he's a conductor and Izzy just trying to get on the train and catch up, but the train, this is gone.
I just hate to see how people talk about Israel now, because when he was a champion, they didn't have the energy.
Yeah, nobody.
Now it's like everybody want to see him lose. It's like, bro, like he's.
But the thing is, Izzy's approach to this fight, man, he got to be well-rounded. Like in that fight a few months ago, where there were so many opportunities to take the back. Izzy just stood up on top of him, like in this squatting position, like this weird. I'm like, man, put the hooks in and choke this dude out. Put the hooks in and grind the pound. There was one point where before Alex had caught a second win, remember when Izzy was on top of him and Alex's head was on the ground and Izzy was just punching him, but then he stopped. He stood up. I'm like, man, you could have been finished that fight, man. Yeah. So, you know, it's little stuff like that, man, where you can't make those mistakes, because Alex gonna be different. He gonna be better this time.
And Israel can't talk about I'm gonna fight and win systematically. Nah, bro, you gotta go. Cause they asked him, why didn't you go for the finish in the first round or in the second round after you hurt him? He said, I like to win systematically. I don't want to get too aggressive. Okay, but Alex can get aggressive if he hurt you.
And he did. And he swarmed him. And so, man, Izzy got to have a better approach to this, man. Don't think that, if I just, because it ain't going to be how that first fight played out. It's going to be a different fight. But then we get down here to Gilbert Burns and Jorge Masvidal. I think this was the worst thing for Jorge. I just think it's a terrible fight. A lot of people have been ducking and dodging Gilbert Burns. Bilal don't want that fight. Colby don't want that fight. Who else is up there? There was somebody else up there.
Kamzat.
Kamzat don't want to do a rematch, even though Gilbert gave him the fight in the first place, because Gilbert was number 3. Gilbert didn't have to take that fight. And it's like, Kamzat, if nobody else will fight you.
I think Jorge's looking at it from the fact that maybe if he can stuff the takedowns, he have a chance.
Jorge number 11. Whoa.
That's fair.
I'm saying, but I ain't never seen nobody jump out the rankings like that before.
Nobody else want to fight Gilbert. He got to fight people outside the top 10.
I know. And it's like Gilbert's number 5 and Bilal is ahead of him, even though Bilal don't want the Gilbert fight.
What is up with all the welterweight fighters in top 5 avoiding each other?
Don't nobody want to fight. You know, the thing is, they all want to fight Leon because they think Leon.
They think they're good. They think they're a good matchup for him.
Bilal think he's a good matchup, which he is.
Or a bad matchup for him.
Good for Bilal, but bad for him. Colby is kind of hoping Leon will win because
he's a terrible matchup for
Leon. And Kamzat they're all hoping. That's the thing. Nobody's budging right now because they're kind of waiting to see how this trilogy fight gonna happen, and they all just kind of feel like, well, Leon will be the best person to be up there. If all of y'all are holding out, how do you determine who actually gets to fight him, even if he wins, and you think you match up good against him from your perspective? Okay, so who gets the title fight? Colby, Bilal, Kamzat? Like, what are we doing? So
I don't think it's fair for Jorge to keep fighting people in the top 5. I hate to say it, man, but it's just not fair, man. You keep losing these big fights.
But the thing is, he's like about the 3rd highest paid fighter in the UFC. They got to try to get their money back off that because he's selling tickets, man. He's selling tickets and he's very popular outside of the UFC. So that translates to marketability, and they paying him, man. They can't pay him he can't go out there and be fighting Michael Chiesa or Neil Magny. Especially Neil Magny might mess around and win. You know how you do.
And tell him he's going to be champion in the welterweight division.
And
a year from now,
it's a mess right now. Nobody want to fight each other. Then they got Kevin Holland and Santiago Ponzinibbio. I think this is a terrible matchup. I like Kevin Holland, but I really wish they had given him somebody, because the thing is, Kevin just absorbed a bunch of damage. Kevin just absorbed a ton of damage, man. First of all, his soul looked like it was gone from the Kamzat fight. Mentally and emotionally, he was talking about retirement. Then you get the Wonder Boy fight where outside of that one punch that landed, he didn't really do nothing. And he took a lot of damage, man.
See, I disagree with that. I think Kevin Holland, this is one of the first fights he took in a long time to where he actually has an advantage. Where? If you think about it with the striking. Because you got to understand this, man. Like, he took certain fights in the past, with the exception of the Wonder Boy fight, against big, strong wrestlers who took him down and held him down or finished him. I think against Santiago, he has a chance to actually outstrike him. The only thing is, you coming off a loss where you got destroyed for 5 rounds. So that's the only thing. If he didn't come off that loss like that, I will pick him.
That's what I'm saying. If this was not under the current circumstances, I would agree with you. But all that damage that you just took from Wonder Boy, there is no way that's over. Like, your brain is not healed from that. There is no way.
But he gets a chance to right his wrong with this one, man. He gets a chance to see, is he declining?
Well, speaking of rights, Santiago, that right hand, if that right hand land, it's going to go wrong. That's what I'm saying. Even if he was going to take this same fight, June or July. June or July, man. All I'm saying is just wait it out. Because this is, man, we saw Alex not get touched for 3 rounds and get hit with 1 punch. And so hopefully he'll be healed up by then, man, and you know, things will go bad. Then Raul Rosas Jr. against Christian. I think people are sleeping on Christian Rodriguez.
Hey, Aljamain Sterling said, like, he said that he was training with Raul one time, and Raul's dad was recording him. You know, what he was going to do is he was going to post it. If he would have submitted Aljamain Sterling, he was going to post it on social media.
No, but I'm saying Aljamain had a title fight coming up, and he had injuries at the end of his camp. So he's like taking it light, taking it slow. Yeah. Because this is my championship opportunity. You know how it is in the UFC. If something happened and you don't get your title fight, or you pull out of the fight, man, it might never happen again. And look at the bantamweight division now. TJ ended up coming back, skipping over people, all kind of stuff. Umar coming up there. So he was right. You got to take it slow. And then Raul's dad is sitting up filming it.
That's dirty, man.
That's dirty, man. That's just nah, that ain't cool. But I was saying, people sleeping on Christian Rodriguez, man. Christian ain't no joke.
This might be like a Paddy Pimblett versus Jared Gordon type fight. The person people think gonna win might not win.
Hey, we've been watching Christian for a little minute, man.
The only thing is, Raul gonna go out there and he gonna fight the way he should, man.
Man, but hey, all I'm saying is don't sleep on Christian. But then we get Adrian Yanez.
Speaking of sleeping
people, we get Adrian Yanez against Rob Font. And this is a good fight, man, because Rob, you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes he on a 4-fight win streak. Sometimes he got his butt whooped in the last 2 fights bad. He was doing good against Cheeto, and then he would win the round and get dropped with 1 minute left to go.
Yeah.
So it's like, dang, he was doing everything right. It's just Cheeto had more power. And
you can argue that fight was closer than what they were saying, too.
I know.
I hate to say it, man. Like, you can argue. I'm not saying he won, but the fight was closer than what people saying.
It just Cheeto had the power.
Because Cheeto got outstruck bad.
There were some times where Cheeto really didn't get nothing going until he landed a punch or a kick. Yeah. But the way Rob was responding, trying not to get knocked out, was crazy. Though.
He recovered real good.
But all the wobbling across the cage, which I know, I'm not saying that he can control that, but I'm saying it was showing that Cheeto must have been hitting him pretty hard, because a lot of other people would have been knocked out. But Adrian Yanez, this is a good fight. Both of them have had time to recover.
I think somebody might get slept on this one. It's only 3 rounds.
Yeah. This should be a 5-round fight. This should be a fight night main event in Houston.
I think what the UFC need to do on a card this good, I think every fight need to be 5 rounds.
Hey, that would be interesting.
That'd be cool, man. I'm saying it's just 3 rounds, because I can see Robert Font and Adrian Yanez going at 3 rounds, and it's like, who won?
And it's not enough.
Yeah. And it's like, dang, man. And then another thing is, they're both, Adrian top, he's number 13. I think fighters in the top 10, I think each fight should be a top 10.
At least top 5.
I'm sorry, each fight in the top 5 should be 5 rounds.
But they got to start paying people more to be training for 5 rounds.
And also, you have to put on the main card, because you can have on the prelims going 5 rounds. But
and then, man, they got Joe Pyfer and Gerald Meerschaert. And you kind of been on Gerald for a minute, man, saying that he was better than what people was thinking.
He's underrated.
But it's so funny because we were having this discussion about how did he finish Bruno Silva, but Bruno went to war with Alex.
I was saying, even when I did my prediction for the fight, I was saying that Gerald, his hands is getting better. He's a southpaw. He has a sneaky left hand, and he has some power in his left hand. I didn't think Bruno took him seriously. I hate to say it, man, because if you run a fight back, I think Bruno win. But I don't think, because of the timing of it, I think that maybe he was sleeping on Gerald.
They got embarrassed. But now,
I think at the very least, Joe can put together a game plan. Because if you watch him fight, like, he's not reckless at all. He's real technical. He's more technical than what people think, man. So I think he could put together a game plan and just, he might be able to edge this one out, man.
And Joe, he got the power, man. He getting better. This is a good showcase fight because the headline of this card is a middleweight title fight. Gerald Meerschaert is on the receiving end of the #1 highlight they use to promote Khamzat. So I can't get that out of the back of my head. I'm sorry. I know how much the UFC like Joe Pyfer. I just can't help but think that they're about to try to use his momentum and his veteran status as a way to like leapfrog Joe Pyfer in like the top 15.
And I was wondering, I was like, why don't Joe Pyfer have a fight, man? Because I was thinking he was going to fight somebody just outside the top 20, top 25. But now they're trying to expedite him. They're trying to get him in the top 5 real fast.
Yeah,
it could be a good thing or a bad thing. That's always a gamble because if he fights somebody who's too good too soon, he can lose. He can lose a fight and it'd be hard to promote him again.
Yeah.
But then again, you don't want to, if he's that good, you don't want him to keep fighting people outside the top 20. And it take forever. Like Umar, it's taking forever for him to get in the top 5.